Welcome to this debrief. Is the US still a smart choice for your child? Thank you so much for joining me from all over the Caribbean. You're here because you care deeply about your child's future. So do we. And the headlines are concerning. I know that there has been, a lot swirling around in the last couple of days, a lot for us to digest as parents. But we're having this session so that you leave here informed and clear on your next steps. I've had 8 media interviews in the past 2 days with various TV stations and news outlets, and I've gotten a ton of messages on social media. And some people are asking me, how do you feel? Are you panicking? And I say, I have guided parents and students for the past 15 years and also through the pandemic. And at this point, I know that the answer is always to stay calm, gather the facts, adjust strategy where necessary, and keep it moving. And so that is the energy that we're bringing here tonight to you. And my hope is that you will spread this energy far and wide, because I'm sure you will have other people who you will need to, reassure and save from a panicked situation. Okay, my name is Nicole McLaren Campbell. If you don't know me, I'm welcome. I'm the founder and CEO of AIM Educational Services. We've been helping students throughout the Caribbean for the past 15 years to get in and get scholarships to universities across the world. We help students with tutoring, test prep, to perform well in high school and beyond. And we also coach teens in productivity and focus and wellness. All right, so let's jump right into it. What happened, or rather, what is happening? What is happening? Well, it sort of started to really hit the news with these on-campus protests that were happening regarding the conflict with Israel and Gaza situation. University administrators on both sides were criticized. There were some who thought they were not doing enough, while others thought they were restricting freedom of speech on campus, and even graduation activities at some schools had to were halted or affected in various ways. Now what we're seeing, what has happened as well now, is that the current US government has pulled federal funding for research at many universities. They have asked public universities and are enforcing that public universities discontinue diversity, equity, and inclusion offices and initiatives. There has been revocation of visas of students who have been involved in protest or who were involved in protest activity, what the US government calls anti-Semitism, un-American activity. And Harvard University in particular was requested to share the records of their international students. They refused, then they went to court. And then next thing we know, our students, one of our students admitted to Harvard this year, shows me this letter, an international student, where Harvard is telling its students that, look, if you have another offer on the table from a non-US school, please accept it. You might not be able to get a student visa, in not so many words. Now, this was a really unprecedented move. I've never seen it in 15 years. It was as we approach the May 1 deadline, which is when you have to confirm that you are attending, which US school you're attending. That's a universal May 1st deadline. And Harvard sent this letter maybe a week before the May 1st deadline. You are not allowed to accept another US offer, but you are allowed to accept Harvard and an international or a non-US offer. Normally, you're only allowed to accept one offer, and that's for the school you're going to. So when we saw that, we immediately advised our student in this position, boy, it doesn't look so good for Harvard. You have other very good options on the table. Of course, you know, if you're getting into Harvard, you're probably getting into other really great schools. So we advised her to look at the other really great schools. And then a few weeks later, you'd have seen in the headlines where Harvard lost its ability to issue F1 student visas and even maintain the international students that they do have. Now, Harvard has appealed. A judge has put in a stop order. Harvard says it's unconstitutional. Next thing you know, 2 days ago, Harvard lost a further 100 million in government contracts. Their president agreed to take a 25% pay cut. This is an ongoing court case. It's quite fractious. And so that is the current situation with Harvard and the US government. Now, this is different from what's happening with student visas in general. So there are people who have conflated the two. It's two different situations. So Harvard and the US government have a case going on. Yes, the US government has pulled federal funding for research from a whole wide range of universities. You have to know that once this situation started unfolding, AIM and I actually personally reached out to many of our university contacts. We've, as I said, been around for 15 years in this work, so we have wide networks. Reached out to our contact at the US Embassy here in Kingston, just to get a better understanding of what was actually taking place. I can tell you that there are some things that have been publicized and some things that haven't been publicized. But the federal funding withdrawal for research is something that's impacting most universities right now. Many universities have had that funding cut. But the situation with the F1 visa, the ability to issue F1 visas being taken away from Harvard is a Harvard-specific issue. Unprecedented because you only, as an institution, really lose the right to issue F1 visas if you are like sham, if you're not a real university. I don't think anybody could argue that Harvard isn't a real university. So that's what's happening with Harvard. Now, what has happened recently? What has happened recently is that the US government has paused the issuance of F1 visas for international students while they introduce additional screening measures. Now, what does this mean? This means that if you are starting college in 2025 in August, you do not already have a visa appointment, you are not able to book a visa appointment at this time. You are still able to apply. So it's two processes. One is you can fill out the paperwork and apply, and then you schedule your appointment to go in, present the documentation and have the conversation with the consular officer. Now, the pause. Let's talk about the pause. It is to introduce additional screening measures, social media screening measures. The US government has indicated that they are in particular looking for evidence of anti-Semitism and harassment of Jewish students and sentiments to that effect. Now, I've been sharing in the past, like 7 or 8 interviews I've done, and sharing with the people I've been talking to about this, that it is wise and prudent on the part of parents, educators, anyone with influence over a young person, to really talk to them about social media and what a permanent digital footprint means. This is irrespective of whether there are international students applying to the US or not, because we know that digital footprints can affect employment opportunities, You might want to run for office or do something in the future, and these things are able to be uncovered. So I think it also calls for a wider conversation, a much wider conversation about social media. Okay, now, if you already have a visa appointment booked as a student starting college in 2025, you are unaffected by this. Totally unaffected. I had a student today, had an appointment today and got her student visa. So this is why I say we don't need to panic here. If the passport is currently with the US Embassy, if the student has an upcoming appointment, it's already booked, there's no effect here. Of course, I asked my student, I said, I think I already knew the answer, but I still asked, is your social media clean? The student said yes. Now, I would also want to mention that colleges themselves have been using social media in the admissions process to vet students before they even get to campus. There have been cases of students being admitted to universities and then having their admission rescinded because of what they're posting on social media. So I just really want to take this opportunity to highlight that this is an issue that we really do need to make sure we are talking to our kids about. Now, I had questions. Is this a permanent thing? This is a pause. It is temporary. Now, update. Today, the US State Department, in a briefing, a press conference, said that the pause will not be weeks or months long. I repeat, the pause will not even be weeks or months long. So my advice is always this: in a range of situations, take control of your controllables. What can you control? If you are a 2025 student, complete your visa application form and stay ready. Pay the money, the appointment money, stay ready so that keep checking the site. The minute the appointments reopen, book your appointment. It's really just that simple. However, there are several other things that are going on and implications of what is going on for students who are applying to college in the next 1 to 4 years. And we need to talk about that. It was announced today that Chinese and Hong Kong nationals will face revocations. And I can tell you from experience with a Chinese national student, they have already been facing denials of student visas. This is real and this is happening. Now, again, this is ongoing political tensions that are influencing policy. So when you hear news, you need to be able to separate what is applicable, what is not applicable, what's in your control, what's not in your control. So you don't waste valuable energy panicking, because, you know, that never helps. Get the facts, get strategic. All right, what is true right now? Some students are still getting visas, okay? As I said, I had a student today, went, got the visa, no problem, no issues. US colleges are still eagerly welcoming international students. In my conversations with universities, they are like, we are not gonna stop admitting international students. We want international students here. International students add so much to campus life. They are very important to us. International students add so much to the bottom line for revenue for colleges. We need to talk about that in the context of the announcement today that Chinese and Hong Kong nationals will face revocations and, by extension, denials of student visas, because this is having a budget implication for US universities, which any student that wants a scholarship, any parent that wants their child to get a scholarship, should be paying very, very close attention here. As I said before, There's no long-term freeze. Just today, the State Department indicated that this would not be an extended pause. So apply, pay the fee, keep checking. As soon as an appointment becomes available, book the appointment. Now, PhD students and research students will be very impacted by the pull of funding. They have to check that with their specific university. All right, so questions you might be asking right now, and feel free to ask in the Q&A, ask in the chat. Is the US still a smart choice? Will other schools be facing Harvard's fate? What are the most viable alternatives? If my child already has a visa, will it be revoked? Will scholarships still be available? And what should you be doing now to stay ahead? So let's take on those questions. Now, the reality. The US still offers the most full ride and large scholarships to the most students, the most international students. I'm sorry, I warned you that I was not well. Let me repeat. The US is still the country of all the countries in the world that offers the most money to the highest number of international students. That remains a fact. But their budgets have been hit. Their budgets have been seriously hit and will continue to be seriously hit because of what is going on with the Chinese populations, and the Chinese students, my friends, pay in full. They are a large source of revenue for almost every school in the US. And this is not what I've read online. This is conversations I've been having with universities. So what does that mean? It means that universities are going to be watching their bottom line and their money. What could that mean? That could mean that competition, that the funding for international students might come under some pressure. Now, let me just say this. The trend in international student funding over the past 5 years has been downward. And we tell students this every single year. This is why when students say, oh, I don't want to submit the SAT. I don't want to do the SAT. I tried it once and it's just not for me. And all the other things that teenagers say so confidently that make no sense. I tell them and I tell parents, if you want a large scholarship, you need to be in the most competitive position possible. And even if that school is test optional, even if that school is test optional, the fact that a high SAT score is something they will look at and it will enhance your profile, you need to do everything in your power to get a high SAT score. Period. Point blank. Argument finish. Even in my own home, with my stepdaughter, who incidentally is a US citizen, had her eyes on a very pricey school. For a little while, this was her top choice. While this school was her top choice, I made sure in no uncertain terms that she knew that for this $100,000 a year school, you're gonna need a scholarship. And I know after she did the SAT twice, she was totally demotivated about it. She didn't want to do it again. And I said, well, do you want to go to that school or not? Because it's not my decision. This is all you. So I think parents need to assert leadership in this area, because a lot of times I understand how it is when we have teenagers, you know, we kind of leave them sometimes to make some of the decisions and we rely on what they're telling us. Well, this is not that time. This is not a DIY environment, a do-it-yourself. Get experts. And I'm going to tell you about the AIM programs that you can engage with in a second. So this is not the time to DIY. This is the time to invest wisely so you can get a return. This is also not a do what you feel like environment. You want to follow strategy here. No. So SATs matter more than ever because you need to be more competitive than ever. Starting early matters more than ever. We have even built in a pricing incentive for students starting college in 2027 to get started in the program now. It would be a 2-year program at the 1-year price, because it makes our job easier, your results better, it's less stress all around. So we're like, fine, that's what we're doing. 2026, look, you only have June, July, August, September. You have about 4.5 months to get the application together, get the super score, and get the application submitted. So there's no start early for you. If you're just starting now, you're actually late. That's just the truth. It's still possible, but you're not early. Early deadlines matter more, which is why you hear me say 4.5 months, because I'm counting down to October 15th deadlines. I don't want to hear anything about January the 1st. I don't want to hear it. All our students wanting to have their applications in by November 15th, unless if there is some other reason why they can't have them in, that's different, but that is the guidance. There are earlier deadlines and scholarship deadlines that start as early as October 15th. We will not be missing those deadlines. This is not the year to miss the early deadlines. You know, our students who applied early, when this visa thing started happening and everybody was all ruffled, they weren't ruffled. You know why? They applied early. They were in by December. They had visas by January, February. Like, it was not a problem. They already had their visas. Long time. So again, you need to start building that competitive college profile early, but you also need to get the applications in early. And the truth is, if you are a paying international student, you'll be at a very special advantage. That's a fact, okay? So for students who are paying, you are at an advantage. For students, you still need a highly competitive profile, right, to get where you want to get, but you're at an advantage. International students who are not paying, the less money you have, the harder it is. This was always the case, but it's more pronounced this year, so you really need to have that profile up. As I said, Chinese students bring real money. It's not a small issue how these budgets will be impacted. So I said this already, it's not a DIY environment anymore. You want to have an expert on your side. You want to have somebody who can advocate with colleges on behalf of your child. This is extremely important in this climate. As I said, you know, the fact is that when these stories started swirling around, I just picked up my WhatsApp. I just picked up my phone and I started WhatsApping various colleges because, again, we're on a WhatsApp basis because of the relationships built. We advocate for our students. We don't just have them submit applications and then the people reading them don't know who they are. You want to know, this is our aim student. This is, you know, this is the information. If you need anything else, because sometimes they're trying to contact the schools, it's taking long, they will move on to other applicants. We advocate and support our students, not just with doing the applications and the essays and the financial aid and the scholarships, but more important than ever now, when that application is submitted, who is advocating for you behind the scenes? That's also extremely important. So as we said, apply early, build the strongest profile possible, access those early deadlines. And for 2027 students, we're building a hook. You better have a hook. 2026 students, we're taking what you have and fashioning it into a hook, okay? But we have a little bit of time. We have had students do projects and things to sharpen their profiles in the 4.5 months that we have, but we don't have a lot of time. In fact, the 2026 program at AIM closes in 14 days. There's nobody allowed to enroll in our one-on-one program after June the 15th. That's how serious we are. And as I said, for 2027 students, there's a built-in pricing incentive. Okay, think globally. I think it's a very good idea to widen options. I know a lot of students, a lot of parents have been asking about Canada, and again, this is not a DIY environment. Sometimes I hear parents saying things so confidently, but because of my knowledge, I know it doesn't make sense what they're saying. And then you're gonna learn the hard way. had a parent recently tell me, oh, my daughter said she doesn't like what's going on with the US, so she's only applying to Canada. So I asked, also, what's the budget for college? When I hear the budget, I know that because, again, you need that amount of money. Yes, Canadian schools have been offering more merit aid recently. We have an entire session on it next week. They have been offering more money, but they are not in the business of giving full rights to international students at any volume. The full rights that are in Canada are few and far between, and they're extremely competitive. You will have 1 or 2 students in the whole island that you're on being chosen for the scholarship, or 1. That's how competitive they are. And so if you are an international student who wants to study overseas and is relying on huge funding to do so, it does not make sense to say, I'm only applying to Canada. Unless you're happy to say, well, if it doesn't work, I know that it's unlikely to give me a full ride, and if it doesn't happen, I'm fine, and I'm applying locally and regional. Now, on that note, there are plenty regional options that also provide a global education and might be a better fit. I told you briefly about my stepdaughter, who is the US citizen, also a Jamaican citizen. She decided, after we sent her to a summer program, which those are very key, she decided she wanted to study law. She wants to live in Jamaica. So she's at UWI. She's at UWI Cave Hill studying law. That made more sense for her as a pathway. UWI Caribbean, University of West Indies has study abroad and exchange programs with a wide range of UK and Canadian universities. So it doesn't mean that your child won't be able to access a global, experience and get exposure and all the things that we want for our children, right? So it's important to realize that if you design it the right way, your child can still have that global exposure and experience that you crave for them while studying in the Caribbean, if that is a better fit. The other, we had someone in our College Gateway program who studied in Jamaica, UWI, and now works at a firm in New York because her engineering program is internationally accredited and recognized. So she was headhunted and recruited and is now working, in the US, working internationally. So we're going to highlight those pathways because they're perfectly viable pathways. And then, of course, there's Europe and UK. We'll talk more about that next week. Everybody who is inside this webinar will be getting information on that. So what would your next steps look like? So the College Gateway solution from AIM is our most accessible, extremely powerful package. It is $1,150 US. If you sign up, I think the code ends on June. Don't quote me on when the code ends. It could be 72 hours. I'm not sure, but Sharika is in here. She can advise us. You would get $100 off for being a part of this session, okay? So you would be able to access that for $1,050. Now, what does it include? Very importantly, it includes the SAT class. So this is a 3-month SAT prep in verbal and math with highly competent tutors. The program is always highly reviewed. It's one of our signature programs. I want to highlight that all of our services are online, right? So we're dually referred to as AIM Educational Services and AIM Online Academy, right? So you get the SAT class, but that's just the beginning. Given what is happening, well, the Gateway always included group-based college advising, but it was largely focused on the United States. Now, given the fact that it is AIM's recommendation and advice that students widen their scope and their reach, we are so pleased to announce that for no additional cost, the College Gateway program of AIM has expanded to include advising on global options. So that means that students will learn about universities all over the world, how to apply to them, and how to access scholarships from them. And this is group-based counseling that is included in the College Gateway, which includes the SAT class as well. And this is $1,050. And you get $1,150 and you get $100 off for being part of this session. You get monthly Q&A with our expert counselors. Once your SAT scores out, you have a one-on-one meeting to provide direction. Now, we have a class that starts June the 15th. This is the class for 2026 students. Listen, if you start any later, as we say in Jamaica, God go with you. And then the July session now is for our 2027 students. Now, let's say you want to register right now, you use the code US College, you can access the registration right now at aimonlineacademy.com/SAT class. And if you have questions, then you can easily WhatsApp right now Cornell, who is in charge of enrollment at AIM, 276-8579. Okay, so that's how you get in on that. Now, in terms of one-on-one, as I mentioned, our college advising program for 2026 has about 8 spots left and closes in 14 days. It requires an initial consult. You can message Cornell to talk about that, or you can just sign up directly for the initial consultation, which is available at aimonlineacademy.com/initial. And then, as I said, no, for the 2027 students, where we have time to strengthen the profile, right? We have a built-in early incentive, so you're getting the 2-year program for the cost of the 1-year program. You also would start that with that initial consultation, and you can message Cornell about it as well, okay? And if you're starting college in 2028, 2029, 2030, then we have a program called AIM Early, which is fantastic. My daughter Lauren is starting that program. She did a couple consults last year. She's starting that program, and the first thing we're working on with her, or rather her consultant, who is not me, because let's face it, teenagers don't like to listen to their parents, is working on her organization. So she has exams coming up and they're working out a study timetable that works for how she works. And I'm totally relieved, because I know that she has great potential, but she needs support in certain areas, especially when it comes to focus. She's very creative and goes off into her own world frequently. So we have options for you, whether you're starting college in 2026 all the way up to 2030. And you know, there are just moments when having an expert in your corner changes the game. And this is the environment that we're in now. This is one of the moments. This is where we are. So again, I would say take a deep breath, get the facts, move with strategy, not fear, get strategic, and get support. So on that note, I would like to start taking some questions. I saw some come in the chat, and then I need to look at what's happening. Sharika, can you look at the Q&A? And okay, there are no questions in the Q&A. Or there were 2, but they look like they were addressed. All right, so Dacia asked, what about if student visa application was made before the pause and the passport is currently with the US Embassy? Then you're fine. Misha, hi, how are you? Do you advise international students to restrict travel in and out of the US at this time? No, I don't. I really don't. But what I would advise is international students who currently have student visas, as well as students who are now obtaining student visas, need to be extremely aware that this is a volatile, or rather, I would say that that the times have changed. So now we see where keeping a student visa is very different. So if you see your American friends, you know, getting fake IDs so that they can go out drinking, and you join them, you might lose your visa if you get found out. If you skip classes now, that might be grounds for losing your student visa. Students with visas need to be extremely careful and make sure that they're just staying within the rules and staying within the line to maintain their student visas. All right. Is a junior who is currently on a scholarship likely to see a reduction in scholarship? That is dependent on the institution. I have not seen that happening. There are many schools that guarantee scholarship for all 4 years. So I would check the terms of the scholarship, but I wouldn't be worrying about that right now. But if you are concerned about it, I would direct that question to the university. Could I hear the pathway that young lady was on, the engineering lady, that she did UWI Mona, an accredited engineering, he was electronic engineering at UWI Mona, and then was recruited to a firm. So one of the things we do with our students is personality testing, psychometric assessments. And let me tell you, when I did them with my kids, I was absolutely floored by how accurate they were. And it provides great direction, not only in terms of how you can communicate with them better and more effectively as a parent, but it also provides great guidance on which areas they should explore more. We don't like to lock them into a certain career from, early. Your kid is starting college in 2030 and Amy is telling them, oh, you're going to have to do this or be this. That's not what it's about. But it's about steering them in a direction of, this seems to be what, based on your personality, you might enjoy. Let's explore. This is what you already enjoy. Let's explore. Because building out that hook and that profile is something that takes years. And, again, it's more important than ever. Okay. Now, I would like to take a poll right now of students who are, or parents who are interested in the College Gateway program. Obviously, it's not binding, but we want to get a sense of the parents who are interested in the College Gateway program, because we can give you some support in accessing that program. So we're going to run a poll now. Sharika, am I supposed to do the poll? And if so, how do I do it? The poll will just help us to give you callbacks. So we have parents answering, which is great. Oh, the poll is running right now. Sharika has launched the poll. How fantastic. So if you just click right now on your screen to say if you are interested in the College Gateway program for 2026 and 2027 students, then please go ahead and indicate that on this poll, and we will be able to actually reach out to you to provide some support. You can also just directly register tonight and use the code, but we just want to get a sense of where we are with that. All right. Okay, great, thank you. I think everybody has answered, Sharika, so you can end the poll. Thank you so much. Oh, Sharika, the poll doesn't allow a yes only. It only says yes already registered, which is a little strange. Anyway, if you are interested in the program, you can also just say, I am interested here, and we'll get the whole report from the session, and then we'll also be able to contact you in that way because we have your information. So no worries about that. All you need to type is I'm interested, and the year that your student is starting college is also helpful. Your child is starting college, and then we can give you some support. You can also just directly register tonight with the code, but we can also or send Cornell a WhatsApp And you don't even have to wait for us to contact you. You can send Cornell a WhatsApp at 876-276-8579. Okay, thank you so much. All right, Sharika, what about the poll for the college advising program? Are you interested in the college advising program? You can just answer there as well, and we will also be reaching out to you with that information. Okay. Thank you. I see folks still answering that. Okay. Alrighty. So on that note, let's see. Okay, we have a couple more questions that I want to just make sure I address. You know, I love to answer questions. All right, so question. Okay, we heard what the pathway was on. All right. Hello. This is a family friend from Barbados. Okay, son is in 4th form. We'll be reaching out for assistance. Perfect. We are really looking forward to serving you. 4th form is actually the year when you really start to build out that permanent college record, because colleges will look at upper 6, lower 6, 5th form and 4th form as a 4-year high school record. So that's really great timing. You really don't want to leave it much later than there. How many days through the week are the SAT classes held? Twice a week, and there's a mock exam on some weekends. The classes are 3 hours long. What's the cost for the AIM Early program? Oh, the AIM Early program. Okay, Sharika, that's what you were answering. I thought you were answering the college advising. Okay, the AIM Early program, there's a group-based program that's $1,500, and then there's the one-on-one AIM Early program, and that's $3,000. Our College Gateway is a 9-week program. So no, sorry. The SAT class is a 9-week program, but the College Gateway program lasts through application season. Okay, so the SAT class is 9 weeks, but then the college advisory support, the access to the monthly calls, the Q&A calls with the counselor, the group sessions about applications, etc., that will last up to December the 1st when applications need to go in. When should you be taking SAT classes? Those should be taken the summer after the summer after CXC, or the summer after the junior year, after the sophomore year. So before you go into upper 6 or US grade 11. And then we also recommend early SAT prep. There are some students who just don't test well. My stepdaughter was one of them. She moved her score by 480 points, okay? But that's because she started testing early and started doing PSAT testing. So I'm really relieved that she was able to do that, because then she was able to really give herself the best shot and have options. So we start students with PSAT and early SAT test prep in our AIM Early program. So we really encourage that. All right. So signing up for the CAP 2026 pathway is really easy. All you have to do is WhatsApp Cornell. He will guide you. It's a concierge style program. You get a WhatsApp group with counselors. You have an essay coach. You have an admissions coach. You have a whole team supporting you. You know, the first thing when this news broke, what was happening, Sharika was WhatsApping in all our private consulting groups, reassuring parents. There's not one parent that came to us with a question about the situation, because we were already ahead of it, telling them what to do. So, you know, that's the level of support that you get as a CAP parent and student. My current 5th former wants to do medicine. Can he apply as a high schooler? Keep in mind that medicine is not offered as a first degree in the US or Canada. This is a Caribbean, UK, Europe proposition if they want to go directly into medicine. I would advise that he does 6th form, because medicine programs want advanced coursework. CXC is not advanced coursework. CAPE and A-level are advanced. IB is advanced. APs are advanced. CSEC, not advanced. All right. I should also make this number available. 276-9557 is also another number that you can WhatsApp for support. 876-276-9557. Thank you, Sharika. And that's Sharika who is able to just sign you up. So if you want to sign up directly, and you just need some help through the registration process, Sharika is happy to help you. If you're not sure and you kind of want to talk about it somewhere, etc., then you can talk to either Sharika or Cornell. But that is that. All right, what's the cost for the AIM Early program? We covered that already. For 2026 applications, how many days and hours per week? So we told you what the SAT class demands. The Gateway program for the group advising, those sessions are held monthly. As we lead into admission season, maybe twice per month, because there are specific topics to be covered, but that's how it's set up. If you are in a one-on-one program, you have monthly meetings with your consultant. And then when it's time to start writing essays, which if you're in CAP 2026, essay writing starts in June, then you're having meetings with your essay coach once or twice per week, depending on the speed that you're writing at and the types of schools that you're applying to. And as I said, the college advising program is comprehensive. It includes all the essay writing, the college list, the strategy, the advocacy. It's very comprehensive and very concierge style. And then also I should mention that if you're in CAP, the Gateway is free. So let me repeat, the Gateway is included as part of a one-on-one CAP program. So you do not pay separately for SAT class if you are a one-on-one CAP student. The SAT program is part of the College Gateway, so it comes with included group college advising. So you don't have to pay. Somebody's asking, do you have to pay separately for helping with the app process after completing the SAT? No, because there are certain inclusions in the Gateway program, which let me tell you what they are on the screen. Right here, as you can see, one-on-one review of scores with a consultant once they come out, group-based application guidance, monthly Q&A with experts. All that is group-based. If you want one-on-one, like you want your own WhatsApp group, you want your own consultant, your own essay coach, concierge style, all of those things, then you are gonna want to be in the one-on-one program. That is a separate cost, but the cost of the Gateway is deductible. All right, what program is best for students in 5th form? If you are in 5th form right now, you need to find your way to the College Gateway immediately. And then if it is at all humanly possible as an investment, parents, I would upgrade to the one-on-one program as well. So that is what I recommend. Okay. I am interested. I already messaged Cornell and I'm awaiting his response. Cornell, see there, Cornell? You are being requested. He will definitely be in touch with you for sure. All right, so interested for 2028. All right, we'll definitely be in touch for sure. What is the program that's best for students in 4th form? That's called AIM Early. So we highly recommend that for students in 4th form right now. As I said, that's called AIM Early. That means you're starting college in 2028. And it's a great time to start. You get to really build out a great profile. It's a win. Definitely. So that's called AIM Early. You can enroll in that right now. For a student who already has a SAT score, is it possible to do only the application guidance? Yes, it is definitely possible to do only the application guidance. Look, the SAT is just something we throw in to the one-on-one program just as a perk. Not all of our one-on-one students do it. Some of them are not even applying to the US at all. They don't need scholarships, so they're applying only to Canada or only to the UK. And they're not needing to do the SAT at all. So you don't have to do the SAT if you are in a one-on-one program, but it is included if you want to do it at no additional cost. Oops. Goodness gracious. I'm interested, however, the poll answer speaks to already registering. We're sorry about that. Hopefully you just answered yes, and we'll definitely be in touch. My son is going third form. I'm interested in the AIM Early program. Definitely a wise decision, Kenisha. So we will reach out. You can send Cornell or Sharika a message, and we'd be happy to have a call with you about that. Yes, I'm interested. Fantastic. Is the personality test exclusive to AIM, or is it something you can find online? No, it's not exclusive to AIM at all. They're definitely all over the internet, and you can just Google and find personality tests. And I would advise everybody inside of this session to go and do it. Do it with your child. What AIM will do is interpret and then guide you to the right extracurricular summer programs, extracurricular activities. We help our students with independent projects to develop a hook. And then we also help them to explore the types of careers that are and majors that are available to them now and will be coming on stream when they hit the workforce. So it's the personality test itself is really great. We use one called 16 personalities, so it's not a secret. Google it right now. But the value that we add is in how we interpret it and use it to build the student's profile and help them with what we call purpose development. We do find that our students are way more motivated internally and intrinsically when they're clear about, or feel confident about their purpose and where they're going. Just 2 weeks ago, I had a vision board session with a group of students, and it was really useful for that purpose as well. So those are the kind of things we love to do here at AIM. All right. Great. This is just a bunch of people that are interested. Would AIM Early be? Yes, we have a student entering 8th grade as well, who is in AIM Early. I think just signed up this week, right, Cornell? One of my favorite AIM parents and his favorite friend, Mom is here. Hello, I did not see you. All right. Repeat when to start taking SAT. So we start prepping our students with PSAT and early SAT testing from about 3rd, 4th form. The summer after 5th form is the ideal start to prep. Okay, so I already signed up for SAT. She's going to college in 2026. Savannah, I would just have a look at the one-on-one program since it does close in 2 weeks. We can have a discovery call about it, or you can, discovery calls are free, by the way. Sharika, I don't know if you want to share the discovery call link, or if Cornell is gonna do that once people WhatsApp him or what the plan there. But we have some free discovery calls where you can just learn more about the program, and then you can do an initial consult. But I would recommend really looking into the one-on-one program, because as I said, it's really comprehensive concierge style support if you're able to invest in that. And it's definitely, the payoff is real. Okay. I don't recommend students going to college after 5th form because they don't have advanced enough courses. And nowadays, especially with how college environment set up, I just think the maturity is so important. They're gonna see so many things. And I mean, really and truly. We share the success rates of our programs. We actually just sent out an email to our mailing list. Maybe you weren't on it at that time. And so we have an average SAT score movement of about 300 points on average. So when the student comes, we give them a diagnostic, and then they sit the real test after the course. So it's around 300 points, which is many times the national average movement in the US after test prep. And then college university enrollment, 100% of our students are admitted to college. Around 90% of them get into one or more of their top 3 college choices. And we'll also publish the list of schools that they get into. But again, yes, we have students getting into Harvard, Princeton, Yale, and University of Miami, and all of these popular, exciting schools that people love to talk about, and it sounds good over coffee with your friends. But I think it's more important, like, did the student get into their right fit? Are they poised for success in life beyond college? Those are some of the questions that, while it doesn't sound as sexy, but those are the things that really matter. So those things are really important to us. My daughter is in Canada, going up to grade 12 in September. applying, right? We have several students who are based in the US and Canada, by the way. We should mention, we work with a lot of diaspora kids, but we also work with boarding school and private school kids. So Denise, we can certainly do that. I'm sure Cornell or Sharika has made a note of that. If you starting in 2026, we close the program in 14 days. And it expires on May the 1st, which is the universal deadline for students to make a decision. So it's roughly a 1-year program for 2026 students. Okay. How do you access scholarships for UWI Mona? They're published so widely. I also advise you to follow the page Scholarship Jamaica, because they publish a lot of UWI Mona scholarships as well. And then UWI Mona has a page with scholarships as well. There are lots of scholarships. The classes are all online. If you're enrolled in the Gateway program, can you pay for individual session? You certainly can do that. You can definitely pay for individual sessions if you are in the Gateway program. What's best for a lower 6 former right now, that they start the SAT program, the Gateway, in June, because you don't have a lot of time at all. 3.5 months, 4 months, that's nothing. The one-on-one program for a third former is $3,000. And then if you're planning to study law, yes, I would recommend 6th form. If you sign up for the Gateway, should you schedule an initial before? No, you don't need an initial before the Gateway. You can sign up for the Gateway and then book the initial at the same time. Interested in AIM early, son just turned 14, going into Form 3. Yes, this is great. Sure, we can definitely reach out. Just send a WhatsApp to either of those numbers that we share. And then there's also this discovery call link, so you can always book a discovery call. Sharika, could you WhatsApp me that link, because it's not allowing me to copy it from your message here, unfortunately. So please WhatsApp and I can share with everybody. Oh, Sharika, that was really fast. My goodness, you're giving me whiplash. Okay, my son is going in 12th grade. He just got early admission. Which option would be best for him? He just got in early admission. Is he already admitted to college? I don't think I understand that statement. But if he is going into the 12th grade, that means he is the class of 2026. So that we would definitely recommend he start immediately. Do you do IB, and what's the difference between CAPE and SAT? SAT is a standardized test that is 3 hours long, test verbal and math, and it's required by many US schools, test optional for others, but it helps to sharpen your profile. CAPE is a 2-year academic program. IB is offered by specific high schools. I want to enroll in the College Gateway, but the code expires in 24 hours. What do I do? Sharika, does the code expire in 24 hours? The next discovery call time is Monday. That's not accurate, because I know for a fact that discovery calls are available tomorrow. So I'm sorry about that. The code lasts 72 hours. You can send a WhatsApp message to Sharika or Cornell to have a conversation about the programs here. I think the discovery call would need an update. It's showing June the 2nd. Sharika, I'm not sure if you can fix that for me, but DeAndre, you can just go ahead and send a WhatsApp to this message, and then that way you can have a chat tomorrow to ask questions. That way you can still use the code. Yes, we can certainly give you a call, Denise, as well, to talk about the program so that you can start for 2026. And we can also have the discovery call link updated as well. So sorry about that. Okay, yes, the recording will definitely be made available. I have run through every single question here. I love to answer questions. So I'm happy that I was able to answer all of them. Great. What's the best option for students entering grade 13 in September 2026? So that means that you are class of 2027. So we would definitely recommend the July Gateway program for you. If you're going to university in 2027, we definitely recommend the Gateway program for you. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. It was a pleasure to share and to, I hope, calm your concerns and get you refocused on strategy, not on headlines and drama. We just need to maintain a level head. And as I said, this is the time to have an expert in your corner. And I'm really excited that we'll be able to be that expert for so many of you moving forward. So thank you so much again. Have a great evening. Take good care of yourself. Goodbye. Oh, I must thank Sharika and Cornell who have been on this webinar. Sharika, I've seen you. You've been responding so quickly to every single thing. So thank you so much for providing such great guidance. If you do want to speak with somebody tonight, I would ask that you send the WhatsApp communication to them. You can WhatsApp 876-276-8579. If you want to have a conversation tonight, just send a WhatsApp and somebody can give you a call as soon as we close out this session. So go ahead and send a message and we will make sure that you get a call tonight. You're so welcome. I really wanted to have this as a resource for you all. So thank you so much. Have a great evening and take very good care. The recording will be made available to you within 24 hours. Thank you so much.